we got to talk about this. Esports finally coming to the Olympics, something that gamers have been asking for quite some time. That's pretty much the beginning and the end of the good news. Unfortunately, the rest of this video is going to be bad news because this was done in arguably, actually, no, without argument, probably the worst way that you could have done this. It's pretty obvious that the IOC, or the International Olympics Committee, did not involve kind of anyone that knows anything about esports. I actually don't even think this should be called an esports series. It's just astronomically weird. Let's just dive right into it. These are some of the details. March 1st is when the qualifying window begins. So you can actually qualify for some of these. You don't have to be a professional esports athlete, right? It looks like anyone can participate. May 15th is when that qualifying window ends. And then June 23rd through the 25th is when the finals will take place in Singapore. But the reason why they went about this in probably the worst way is the actual sports themselves don't make any sense. So let's go through some of these events, with the first one being archery. Yes, archery, which is a real actual Olympic sport. And when I saw this, I said to myself, okay, I guess it's a VR version of archery or something like that. No, it is a cell phone game called Tic-Tac-Bow. That's how you qualify. Apparently, it can be downloaded from the mobile app store. I went on my iPhone and I searched for it. I could not find it. I don't really see why that would be something that anyone would want to watch. Let's go with the next one, baseball. And that will take place in WBSC Baseball Power Pros. So, there's a little bit of a pattern here you're starting to see emerge where they're taking physical sports that already are tied to the Olympics and they're just adding virtual versions of them. It's just the wrong approach to go to, because now you're not capturing either audience. You're not capturing gamers or non-gamers, right? Because as gamers, we want to see the games that we regularly already watch in terms of esports, right? We want to see League of Legends, the Dotas, the StarCrafts, the Valorants, the fighting games, the Street Fighters, for example. Those are the esports that we're already watching. We don't want to watch a virtual version of a physical sport that most probably don't watch anyway, right? No one wants to watch a virtual representation of archery, even if it was a VR version of it, high fidelity graphics. I definitely don't want to watch a cell phone game called Tic-Tac-Bow being played on the Olympic stage. It just doesn't really make sense to me. This one's also really weird. Chess. Now, the actual physical game of chess is not an Olympic sport, which makes this so much weirder. Now, this is probably, I think, I would say without argument, this is the one that has the highest potential viewership, because chess, especially chess.com, has never been as popular as it is right now. Chess has gone through an explosion over the last few years, especially virtual chess across streaming sites like Twitch. It's a very, very popular viewing experience. So if they were to allow, and I'm not sure if there's something against these rules, but if they were to allow someone to qualify and co-stream those qualifying events, it could bring in a lot of viewers into the finals. Part of me feels like the Olympic Committee is not going to allow it, but we'll have to wait and see. One other thing that's weird is that you can watch this when it airs live on Olympics.com. Another mistake that they've made, which shows that I don't feel like they consulted anyone in the video game or esports space, because obviously this should have been broadcasted on Twitch, especially allowing people to co-stream it. Hopefully it's something that they allow, because I could see something like the chess actually not chess qualified, but the chess finals getting a lot of viewers from co-streamers co-streaming the event, and hopefully they allow it. Next one is cycling, which is, once again, you're taking a physical sport and just doing a virtual version of it. This is the game that they're using. It's called Zwift. And it looks like it involves a physical bike. You can actually run or bike. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are going to be, But once again, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to watch someone pedal on a stationary bike. I don't know. It just it's not really much interesting there to watch compared to actual cycling. You have to give me something that's just as good or better than the physical representation. If not, then there's really no reason for me to watch. Next up, we have Dance, and it's being played on Just Dance. No gamer is going to watch this. Now, maybe you'll have your Just Dance fans that are going to tune in. I think the one positive of this is that there kind of isn't a physical dance Olympic sport, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe like floor routines maybe are the closest thing. But yeah, this isn't something that I think makes for compelling viewership or something that's going to bring in those gamers to watch. Then you have sailing, and this is what the sailing looks like. This is actually an esport. This is from the eSailing World Championship 2022. Virtual Regatta is the name of this game. And this is what it looks like. No, this isn't something that I would claim is compelling to view or watch. And once again, sailing is an actual physical Olympic sport. I think that if you're into sailing, no one's gonna go to their dad and say, "Hey, Dad, did you know that? I know how much you love watching sailing at the Olympics. The virtual version of it is now an Olympic sport." Your dad is not going to watch this, right? And gamers are not going to watch this either. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. This game has 4,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel, right? I don't think it's something many want to see. Then we have, it gets even weirder, right? There is Taekwondo. Let me scroll up. There's virtual Taekwondo. What's interesting about this one is that it's not a Taekwondo video game. They're using some sort of motion tracking technology to allow you to engage one-on-one in non-contact sparring. And this is invitational. So they're inviting 16, let me repeat that. They're inviting 16 of the best and upcoming Taekwondo athletes. But you're not going to watch them actually physically do Taekwondo. They're going to, I guess, stand 30 feet apart, and a motion capture equipment is going to virtually convey their moves into a virtual game. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just so dumb. It's just dumb. Then they have tennis. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe it's a virtual version of tennis, maybe some sort of VR game. No, it is this game, Tennis Clash 2022, which is a cell phone game. And it's like, look, I'm not saying this in a way to knock mobile gaming. It still is the biggest gaming platform in the world. So many countries prefer to play on mobile, especially versus us here in the United States. But once again, this is not, I don't feel like this is something that's going to make for a compelling viewership. And what sucks about this is that if this was their first shot, right? I feel like no one's really going to watch this. And I fear that it's going to indicate to the IOC like, oh, okay, well, we tried. As you can see, no one wants to watch esports at the Olympics. And they're wrong. This is something that gamers have been asking for quite some time. But of course, no one's going to watch this specifically because tennis exists, right? You need to add esports with an actual game in the esport itself. It's not something that can be physically replicated in the real world. Now, there is one that I feel like they got right, which was motorsport. And this is being played in Gran Turismo 7. Now, I look at this and I go, okay, I feel like you guys got at least one right. One out of, 7 or 8 or something like that. Now, what's interesting is that this happened one time, which was the StarCraft 2 Grand Finals, IEM Pyeongchang. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think this happened in 2018, and it was an official partnership with the IOC. It wasn't like an official Olympic sport at that point in time. But this is kind of representative of something where it's like, so you guys kind of sort of understand a bit because you did this. But when it comes to actually finally bringing games and esports into the Olympics, you dropped the ball. Like StarCraft would have been the premier game to have on there because you would have definitely had the world watching. And that's really what the Olympics is really about, right? Or even something like the World Cup is people going on there to watch their own country compete. And StarCraft, games like StarCraft, League of Legends, Valorant, fighting games like Street Fighter 6, you would have had people from around the world watching to see if their country makes it onto the next round. And like I said, what sucks about this is it sort of feels like this is like one and done. It's, part of me feels like they're doing this. They're going to see what the response is to it. It's probably not going to be very strong. And I fear that they're going to look at that and instead of going further and saying, okay, let's reevaluate, let's meet with people from the actual esports space to help us with this. I fear that they're going to look at it and go, it looks like there's not really much interest on this. We tried, but you kind of really didn't try now, did you? I don't know. Maybe I'm being super harsh, but I just feel like this is so incredibly frustratingly dumb to see them trying to bring esports into the Olympics and then actually omit esports themselves, right? You have these established audiences in esports for a game like StarCraft, for a game like League of Legends. If it was up to me, I think that the IOC's first move should not have been doing qualifying rounds and an invitational or anything. Excuse me, not an invitational, but they shouldn't have done a qualifying round to open it up with all these just really dumb games that they pick. What they should have done was an invitational. That's what you should have done. Take the top 16 teams from Valorant, StarCraft, have countries build their own small teams. I guess a little bit like, Overwatch has their World Cup thing happening soon where they take the best players from each country. And you do that for something like Street Fighter. You do it for StarCraft. You do it for Valorant. Maybe you pick one FPS, one RTS, one fighting game, and you kind of test it out from there and see how it goes. I guarantee you that format would have worked a lot better. Because if their aim is to say like, hey, maybe we can get casual viewers that love sailing to watch a virtual version of it, it's just never going to work. We've been through this. We've tried to put esports up on ESPN. It just doesn't work. It's not something where you're going to get a non-gamer to watch. You're better off capturing the billions of gamers that already exist and put the games on here that they really care about. But maybe I'm crazy. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this announcement. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.